Actually, yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, guys. Are we live? Are we?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, my Facebook
I
doesn't
feel like
show
we're
it.
getting so much better at this.
I mean, it's improved no end. We're at least only dilly-dally for 5 seconds rather than sort of 15, 20.
I know.
Right.
And
Rock and
I can
roll.
see what you've titled it as well.
I have titled it. We're like super advanced. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Very Professional Coaching School of Service. We hope you're all doing well and having a thriving and successful week.
Yeah, and if you're not, that's okay too. It's kind of what we're here to talk about, right?
Well, that was what I was going to say, basically, is that if you're feeling like that's not the case, that is okay, but let's see if we can work some of that through. And tonight particularly, we thought we'd dive into the world of kind of self-belief and self-worth, and how I did actually name it When You Get Stuck in Your Melon, but not the fruity kind, but it didn't come up as the title. I'm not sure why. Still haven't really worked Facebook out yet, but there's hope for everyone, because if we can build a business successfully without having a clue what we're doing, anyone can do it, right? Winner. So we're going to talk about what happens when you get stuck in your head and you kind of go in circles and you kind of feel like self-belief and worth is keeping you from taking action. And often that can show up in many ways, but most often I think that's generally procrastination and putting off those things that you kind of know you need to do, or you kind of like avoiding them because you know they're going to make you feel super uncomfortable, or you've got a story that you're not worthy, or you don't believe in yourself enough. We're gonna open that up. So if that is you, like, let us know in the comments right now so we know we're talking to the right people. And if you have any real specific questions about it, now's the time to ask, because
yeah,
we
let us know. Detail. Let us know if you're here as well, because we can't see who's watching, so we can't say hi unless you actually let us know that you're here in the comments. So don't be shy. We want to know.
Exactly. Oh, I can see Raphael's on, Matt's on, and
how can you see this? How do you know?
Skills. See, guys, scarily, I'm still the tech person in this business, apparently. I don't know how that's happened.
I've pushed buttons now, so I can't see anything.
Right, so let's get into the detail. Let's get into this subject a little bit, because we've actually been coaching a lot around this, haven't we? The last couple of days, there's been a lot of conversation around this, and we want to add some value to help you guys move through this a little bit more smoothly.
Yeah, it just felt really relevant because I don't think you'll mind me sharing this, Sam, either, but like earlier today we were talking and Sam was sharing like the feelings that he was having today, and I was sharing the feelings I was having today, or just for the last few days. And you know, there was feelings of anxiety, feelings of flatness, all that kind of stuff. So it just felt like it was a really relevant time to just be honest with people about it's okay to feel like that from time to time. And the problem comes, where I see the problem comes, is when we get really worried about that. When we think that there's something to be concerned or alarmed about with that feeling. And so, you know, we're talking about self-worth and self-belief and things this evening, but it really could be any feeling. So whether you're having insecure thoughts around making proposals, whether you're having insecure thoughts around having an impact, whether you're having insecure thoughts about feeling rejected, whether you're feeling anxious about putting a post out or doing a video for the first time, or connecting with someone or coaching someone more successful than you, whatever that is, like we kind of want to point to that's coming from inside of us and not coming from the person who's sitting across that you deem to be more successful than you, or the rejection that you might have just had when you made a proposal, or the figure that you have in your head to what you want to offer. So kind of want to speak a little bit to that, because it really did make a difference in my world. And I can see with the conversations Sam and I are having with people that it's starting to make a difference there too. Like there's like a little glimmer of light going in there, that we don't need to focus on the problem. Can you hear that?
Pizza, right? It's your pizza, isn't it? You've got the Domino's.
Deliveroo. We don't need to focus on the on the problem that we think we have, right? It's like a lot of kind of shining a light on, well, I don't feel worthy because I had like a history of this, or I have like this really ingrained pattern of, you know, habits and thoughts, and I was in an environment for a long time where I was put down. And that can be really helpful. I'm not saying that that's not helpful. I'm sharing what's been really helpful for me, and what I see clearer is that I don't need to put my focus and my energy on there. Like, I can see what I'm doing. I'm getting lost in a lot of thinking about it. I'm seeing clearer that the feeling that comes from all of that thought is not a problem. Like, it really isn't. But when I get anxious about feeling anxious, then that becomes a problem, because then I try and get rid of the feeling or have a different feeling, and I'm missing the fact that there isn't really a problem in the first place. Like, the problem's created from inside my mind. So I don't know if I'm making a lot of sense. I'm distracted by the fact that my pizza's outside.
We're so tired. Are we making any sense?
But can you, I don't know, can you kind of, I'm going to go back into Facebook and see if we've got any comments.
You know, this really reminds me, and guys, this is so important to remember, and not even remember, it's deep down, there is a knowing in all of us that we understand this stuff, because it's what's always been true, right? That for me is true. So I remember once I was having a conversation with somebody about this exact same thing, right? Around it, this was on the topic of anxiety, actually, like this feeling of, oh, I don't want it, I've got to get rid of it. I need peace. I want to feel better. I want to feel calm, because this is horrible, uncomfortable, and it sucks, and I can't function like this. I couldn't possibly enter a coaching conversation like this. Can you imagine? How can I coach somebody feeling like this? And I just remember my coach at the time was laughing. He was like, Sam, where are you trying to go? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, where are you trying to go? Like, we only know what's true because it's here. So where do you think you're trying to go? Where are you off to? And that always really stuck with me, because what I started to see, there's a difference between having an experience and being okay to suffer. Like, that for me it's just my language, like, take it or leave it, do whatever you want, guys. Choose your own words, it's fine. But for me, it's like that. What it is to suffer is to have that anxiety. But suffering is when I've got that feeling and I'm like, it's so personal, there must be something wrong with me, I need to get rid of it, what can I do? And that is a rabbit hole, man. Like, I don't know about anybody else, but I've never found permanent relief from any feeling, any belief about myself, self-worth, confidence, self-belief, anxiety, whatever it is. I've never found permanent relief from it. So that led me to a question of, well, if I've never found permanent relief, what's the answer to all of this stuff? And what I found, and this is very different maybe for everybody, but what I've experienced, and this is what we were talking with somebody about today, wasn't it? It's like, what happens if you stop seeking relief? And that was a game changer. It's like, what happens if you stop seeking self-belief? What happens if you stop seeking self-worth? And traditionally what people are saying, well, then I'll feel unworthy. And it's like, well, I don't know if that's true. Because for me, when I stop seeking things, I tend to find what it is I'm actually looking for. And that's how we've learned to be unhappy. It's how we've learned to procrastinate, because we're trying to avoid this stuff. And yeah, I can see you're itching to say something.
I'm just laughing. I'm laughing at Shirley's, but you're starting to sound like Sam. It's not a bad thing.
There's two of us now, Shirley. You can't get away.
There's something that I want to say that I heard today, because I heard Aaron talk about this and it really made me chuckle. He said two things, and the first one was he was speaking to somebody on confidence, so it's really relevant to what we're talking about. And guy was really uncomfortable. He was really uncomfortable with this feeling of a lack of confidence, and where Aaron was pointing him to was he can get comfortable with that feeling, then confidence is on the other side of that. So he said, it's like you have all of this kind of noise going on in your mind, right? and you're bothered by it. You're really bothered by it. So it's distracting for you. And he said it's almost like if you were watching TV and you were bothered by the adverts, you'd have to get up and turn the TV off every time the adverts came on, right? Because it's like you think the adverts are a problem. So you're distracted by them, you're getting up, you're fiddling with the TV, you're looking for the batteries for the remote control. You're really distracted by all of the adverts. But if you can get really comfortable with the adverts, they'll pass. And then you'll get to the juicy program on the other side. And I love that, because that was like, and did we title this something around like, do you feel like you're stuck in your head going around in circles? I was talking to Sam around like chasing my brain. Yeah. And that's kind of what I'm talking about here. So it's like my brain's revved up with all of these feelings of lack of confidence, lack of worthiness, lack of self-belief, all of that. My brain's revved up and the adverts are on. And if I can just let them run and not be alarmed by them, just know they're just adverts, that's it. And they're going to pass. Then I'm going to get to the other side. So my brain can run away. It can. It's like if you're in a playground and you watch a toddler, like the toddler's going to run and you can run around after it, or you can sit on the bench and the toddler's going to run anyway.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So yeah, so it's like that can be your brain. Like it can be running just like the adverts. You don't have to follow it. It can be running and you can just watch it, see it for what it is. That's it. You don't have to run alongside it. You don't have to be alarmed by it. You don't have to be bothered by the speed of which it's running. There is no problem with the brain running. What it does.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Reminds me of what we were doing today. I took Albert out, and I know this is really topical, and I told you I was just feeling like, you know, that, like you said, like that feeling of being revved up, like in almost a nervous energy, right? Just what's going on? And he was like, right, Daddy, I'm going to race you. I mean, he's 3.5, he's actually quite quick. So I'm legging it after him. And in that time, we're just throwing trucks up and down this hill and having a bit of a laugh. And in that time, I wasn't aware. There was no awareness of worry. There was no awareness of anxiousness. There was no awareness of anything else other than what was. And it's a really important point, because at no point did I choose or control that. It happens when we stop trying to control the experience and we welcome in newness, freshness, something else, something different. And so our attention changes. And it's easy to say, oh yeah, but it's still there, which again, another belief. And if we kind of...
That there, Sam, that you just said, says to me that the person's not seeing it yet.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, but it's still there. So it's like, there's more to see.
Yeah.
And you will,
Definitely.
you will see it, you will feel it, you will experience it, but you won't need it to be gone when you see what it is.
Precisely. It's like a cosmic joke. It's like if we want it to go, it hangs around. If we don't want it to go and we welcome it in, time can't go slow enough. It's like when we're really enjoying something, and we've all had this experience, right? Like time isn't linear. When you're doing something you love, time goes really fast. But if you're doing something really damn boring, you're like, oh my God, this can't go quick enough. Like, and it's time drags. That for me is what it's like with certain experiences. We've been conditioned that certain experiences aren't acceptable. So we unknowingly and innocently kind of hold on to them because we're constantly trying to change it. Whereas when we realize that, or we actualize that actually, you know what, just let it be what it is, then not only do we not experience it generally, in my experience, for as long, but we're more free, or we have freedom within it anyway. It's like a cosmic joke. It's like it should be the other way around, really, but it isn't. And yeah, it's not even a trying hard, is it? Because we hear people say, I'm going to try, I'm trying. It's like, it's not a trying. It's a real gentle, slow exploration of these feelings. And acceptance is the only real word I've got, but
Yeah.
it kind of goes a bit further
Getting
than that.
comfortable.
Yeah.
Like getting comfortable with the feeling that you're experiencing, getting comfortable with the adverts being on. Because the more comfortable you are with the adverts, the quicker you'll notice the TV program. But the more attention you give to the adverts because you think that they shouldn't be on there, the longer they'll last.
Yeah. It's the worst when those adverts come on and they've got like a timer in the bottom right, and it's like, this advert will stop in 5 minutes. You're like, 5 minutes of my life watching this shit. It's like that, isn't it? It's like, and it goes so quick. But if they're not watching that, you can just probably find an advert that you might actually quite enjoy or that you like. So, guys, we'd love to hear from you. If you're in your coaching business right now, and self-belief, self-worth is running the show a little bit, or the need for these things, or there's something you feel is stopping you from moving forwards, and this could show up anywhere, at proposal stage, at conversation stage, at invitation stage. It might even be that you haven't invited anyone to a conversation yet. If that's where we're at, that's cool. But let us know, what place are you stuck in right now? Because this is the reason we did this. We said last time is we were going to take some chunks of the course out, and that we're running on the 7th, and we're going to kind of get into the nitty gritty and show you the kind of thing we're going to be talking about, because this right here is massive for coaches. It's for everybody, but we're focusing on coaches. It's massive because when you really learn to be present with experience, then things become smoother and more free. There is freedom to be found in the feeling that you don't want. And that's a really quite beautiful thing, because when we realize that, life becomes a lot easier.
Yeah. So that's our invitation for you this week, to start to get a feel for being more comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a way of like, feel the fear and do it anyway. I mean that truly in a way of seeing that your experience that you're feeling, whatever that is nothing to be afraid of. Like really just sitting with that feeling and not needing it to pass, seeing that I can be comfortable with anxiety, I can be comfortable with panic, I can be comfortable with a lack of confidence, I can be comfortable with the adverts on. Yeah.
It's like creating a new relationship, isn't it? It's almost like you've had this relationship with someone you don't like for ages, or you think you don't like, and then you spend loads of time and you think, God, I actually really quite like you. It's just my...
That was a little bit like you and me, Sam. Just kidding.
Now the truth comes out. You're only doing it publicly because I can't swear and get angry. That's all it is. I wasn't going to tell you about that, but you obviously found out from someone.
No secrets. Cool.
All right, guys. So we'd love to hear from you. You know what? You know that this group, or you should know, and if you don't know, you're going to in a second, that this group isn't about just information. Like, me and Lisa are driven and really, really driven, and really, really doesn't even really cut it. We're passionate about making sure that you're not stuck where you don't want to be, so we can keep you moving forwards. If you reach out to let us know where you're stuck, we will help you. It's simple.
Shirley's asked a great question before we do sign off. My mum does this too, Shirley. I think this is the secret to her happy marriage. My mum was great at switching off when my dad would be nagging. I remember saying, how can you listen to that? And she would say, just switch off. Is that the same thing as what we're talking about?
Oh, that's a good question. Yes and no, I would say to that. Yes, as in knowing of what it is, but not in a bypassy kind of way. This isn't just, oh, I'm going to ignore it, because you can't. Like, your experience is real. You ain't going to ignore it. But this is like say somebody talking and just constantly like this, but you're kind of just giving them a nice hug with your earphones in. That's a bit more of what it's like. So you're not pushing them away. You're not kind of ignoring them, because that, in my experience, isn't necessarily the right way to go. You can't go that way. But is that fair? What would you say?
I guess my take on it would be, because I lived with my parents really recently for 8 weeks whilst I was waiting for my house to be built. And so So I kind of had a similar experience, although my dad wasn't nagging, but he was very, very worried. And he would say a lot of things that I thought were stupid things. Like he would ask a lot of questions that I thought were stupid questions. And so I wasn't able to zone out from them. Like I just wasn't able to switch off from them. But I could start to see towards the end of the 8 weeks, this was really transformational for me, was that I was really creating an experience of my dad through my thinking. So in that question that you asked, Shirley, like nagging isn't real. That's the experience that we've created of dad through our thinking about him. And that was the bit that changed it for me. So I could see my dad can ask as many stupid questions as he wants. They're questions and I'm making them stupid through my own thinking. And when I'm in that state of mind, when the adverts are on, when I'm really revved up and listening to that kind of insecure, low-level thinking, then it bothers me that my dad's asking these questions. But when I see that is all that is happening right now, and I don't believe any of my thoughts, I know from that feeling not to trust whatever it is that's going on, not to trust the adverts. And so that's kind of what I'm pointing to. I can be really comfortable with feeling like, this is so frustrating. Why do you keep asking me the same bloody thing every day? And I experience that, but I don't get alarmed by it. Whereas before I used to think something needs to change. I can't have this conversation every day because I was alarmed by my experience. And now I see, it's just coming from insecure thinking, and there is nothing of valuable information in there for me. So the feeling was really a good guide. It indicated whether I should listen to my thoughts or not, whether the TV program was on or whether the adverts were on.
Yeah, exactly. I love that, Lisa, because it's almost like, Shirley's dad wasn't nagging, it's that her mum was hearing a nag. And it's like, if we really listen to that nag, it's like we might actually hear something, else, which is actually, do you know what, this feeling is just always keep coming back. Like I've always known that it's always going to come back. So instead of like seeing it as a nag, I'm just gonna let it be, because it's never really worked for me to keep trying to change it. It never has, like the history of humankind, yet here we are still trying to do it.
Yeah, because we think that's the way out, which takes us back to the beginning, doesn't it? We think the problem lies with something else, and it's like, no, actually, it's kind of an inside job.
Yeah, always.
Cool, good questions.
Cool, guys.
We
Cracking
will
stuff.
Back here same time next week.
Yeah, answers on questions. Sorry, questions. It's getting late. Questions on cards. If you have any, let us know.
Cool.
Speak to you soon, guys.
Bye.